Hey, good morning to you. Good afternoon. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. Hope y'all having a great day so far. Sorry I didn't upload yesterday. My kids passed their second and third grade, so now they're going to third and fourth, and we celebrated, guys. They did an average of B, and everyone out there that's done with school, yay! Congratulations for passing this year. Congratulations to the parents, especially if you did homeschool. I know how that is. Especially with this year with COVID, it's been very rough for school for this year, so congratulations to everyone. Now, I have some pretty big updates that I'd like to share with you guys, so if you've never been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I upload every single day, just not Friday and Saturday from sundown to sundown. That's when I take my Sabbath. I did take off the last day or so within this week. My kids did graduate, and they are your kids, so you got to celebrate, man. Enjoy life every day. Don't just look forward to the future and worry about that. Enjoy today. Now, I have a lot going on, so I will update you. So make sure you hit that like button if you like these updates. I will do timing and what you can expect within a certain amount of time. I'm going to show you within the next 5 days the possibilities of what we do have. And I will show you what to expect from 7 days on also. So thank you again for watching me today. Hope you have a very blessed day today. Let's get into the forecast. Now, to start it off, the two videos I have for you today, the very top one is showing your precipitation rate, so you can see the rainfall of what's coming. Matter of fact, I'm showing from Texas all the way to Alabama. You got to worry about a lot of heavy rainfall because of what's going to be coming in through the Gulf. Plus, the one right above my head shows you the precipitable water, it's your P-watt anomaly. It shows you all this moisture, all this precipitation that's coming into our country, into our Gulf, and it is intensifying. Now, as of this morning, as of the 8 o'clock update, NOAA is not showing anything within the next 5 days. Matter of fact, I know personally that NOAA don't do it unless they see something within 5 days. But I guarantee you that within the next 2 to 3 days, they're going to show a little yellow anomaly right here. And it's going to show you that a cluster of thunderstorms are brewing up, and it does have rotation with it. I guarantee you they will do that. Plus, I'm going to give you my own little watches and warnings to watch out for, because just like we had one in the Gulf a while back that turned into a tropical storm, tropical depression very quick, and NOAA didn't show any interest in it for at least 2 days before it was about to happen, so it wasn't even on their radar, guys. But I'm showing for the next 5 days that the western Gulf, especially Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, y'all need to stay on alert and just watch out, because you know how this hurricane season will come. I do show we have some vorticity going into the Gulf. We do have some upper level lows, some surface low pressures passing through. And then from 5 to 7 days, you got to watch out right here in the beginning of the Eastern Caribbean for Puerto Rico towards Jamaica. And then after the 7 days, all this moisture, all these possible tropical storms, tropical cyclones will be coming up from Central America, and it'll get into our Western Caribbean, and there will be an area of rotation from a big piece of energy. So as we look at the Climate Prediction Center, y'all might have seen this once or twice today. Let me update you. This week you do see that there is an area of below average rainfall in this yellow right here for the Central America, and you do have above average rainfall in this green right here for the upper Gulf, the lower states, Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama, and parts of Mississippi as well. And then as you go on week 2, you do see that you do get development of a tropical cyclone or a tropical depression or a greater strength will be popping up not only for the Eastern Pacific, but also for the Caribbean. I guarantee you there will be a warning coming from NOAA with a little yellow circle saying that there is a possibility for rotation. There are some thunderstorms coming in, and there will be this issue starting in about 7 to 9 days. Now, as we look through our potential velocity anomaly, which lets us know when we have any high velocity potentials that can come into our country, we're right here from 120 W and on. And really from 60 W on is the Eastern Caribbean and the MDR. So you can see that starting around June 8th, I mean, you do have something popping up over here. It's not super strong, but right around June 8th, we started getting storms that could be in our Gulf, guys. And it starts picking up every day after that. We have possibilities of storms, and it does strengthen as it goes towards the middle of June and on. And when we look into the long range model and see exactly what could be going on from the middle of June and on, you do see right around the middle of June all the way until the beginning of July, we have a lot of velocity potential that's going to be coming into our area, guys. I mean, we do have these right here in the beginning of June. This is potentials. This is a strong one right here. But this right here is a whole bunch of mess that we need to worry about. This is going to be a lot of updraft, a lot of velocity, a lot of cyclones will be forming, especially around this time. Now, the one thing we got to worry about is definitely sooner, because as soon as this high pressure starts weakening and expanding back towards the Atlantic Ocean and retracting out of our Gulf, these storms that are training towards Texas will start moving to the east. Matter of fact, if you watch it, you can see that these surface low pressures, upper level lows, do pass from the lower Gulf of Mexico into the northwestern of Gulf of Mexico. And you can't really see what's happening right here. I will show you. But all this precipitation, all this moisture is being trained in here from the high pressure on both sides of the country. Plus, we have some high pressure down here in Mexico that is keeping it in the Gulf. Then as you go along, you still see surface low pressures popping up, upper level lows, more chances. But as this high pressure moves more to the east, now these are going to be coming straight across the Gulf, and we need to worry about that because it could really add up. And if you look a little closer, you'll see that there is some high pressure values that is in Mexico that is keeping a low cap over here. That's steering them on the west coast. In the Pacific also is putting like a little block here and allowing energy to come right into the south of Gulf of Mexico, and it will start heading north through Gulf of Mexico, north and northwest, and then north. But as you go through your days, every 6 hours, you can see that this block stays here. These upper level lows and surface low pressures keep popping up. But then you'll see that the high pressure will retract back again, and these low pressure systems, all this moisture will start going into our Gulf, and nothing is there to stop it. And literally by Saturday, really they're going now, but they're not going to ramp up to around Friday evening into Saturday. But this is 41 hours away. This is your NAM 3K. You can only see up to 60 hours as your dew points. And you can see right around the western Gulf, they get a burst of storms that do pop up. They do burst real nice, but they do start heading towards Louisiana and Texas, and they do bring a lot of rainfall with them. At the same time, I am showing upper level lows and surface low pressures popping in and out of the western Gulf, which could easily form trouble. And if you look here on the 10-meter winds, you can see that surface low pressures right around 27, 28 hours away starts popping up real good, upper level lows into our Gulf, and it does put some energy that does go into our Gulf. Matter of fact, by Saturday, you'll see a big plume of energy that's in the Gulf of Mexico. It does have circular rotation to it. It is getting a surface low pressure, and it does have a center of the storm. However, with this high pressure circling around, and these high pressure circling around, it will tear it into pieces. It will elongate it. But whether it forms back up again as it crosses over this Gulf, that's another question, because I am showing that we do have vorticity that is popping up. By Sunday, there's another piece of energy that goes into our Gulf with a good chance for it to do some action, to do some rotation, and it does head just like the rest of these will. They will be training towards Texas, towards Louisiana, Mississippi, and parts of Alabama. By Monday, you got another piece of energy that passes into our Gulf, and these do have vorticity with them. I will show you. And this will be the steady pattern. Here's Tuesday. You got another piece of energy, another surface low pressure, upper level low, passing from south to north in the Gulf. The only thing that's keeping it more western is this high pressure over here, giving it easterly winds, pushing everything to the west. Then once you get about 7 to 8 days out, then you start seeing that this kind of activity lowers down. You still get surface low pressures. You still get some upper level lows about 8, 9 days out. But now all the action is going to be coming from the Caribbean. And if you look at your relative vorticity, if you look at the 850 millibar height, that's the height where upper level lows do form. And if you look here, you'll see just right here by Friday, we are getting some upper level lows, some surface low pressures, some vorticity into the Gulf. But right before they get to Louisiana, as these storms train over, they grow in vorticity, and they grow very strong and very quick and at the very last minute. So we need to watch out for these and make sure nothing spins up in this Gulf for the next 5 days. And if you remember the very first video I did back in May 12th, when we started really checking this stuff out and see what's going on so we can stay ahead of the tropics, because I don't like that 3 to 5 day notice by NOAA. That's not enough time for me. But if you remember, we had some vorticity, we had some anomalies coming in from the Eastern Pacific. It did go across Mexico, and it did get into our Gulf and become a big problem. That is still trending, guys. Right after 10 days out, you start getting some high vorticity anomalies coming in from Eastern Pacific, and it does get into our Gulf of Mexico, and it does hover around for a while and rotate. After that, it grows big and goes by the Yucatan Peninsula. After that, we don't know what happens because it's up in the air. It changes daily, but all we can do is follow what's trending. The trending will tell us more likely than not what will happen. Now guys, this is literally 6 days, 5 to almost 6 days out. This is by Wednesday. If you look at the vorticity, you can see right here by Central America that we do get some rotation in these storms that do pop up by Central America. And it does make its way towards the Western Caribbean. Look at that. It just forms up. It rotates and rotates and rotates. And we still have the chance for multiple anomalies coming into our southeast, eastern of Florida, and still showing south of Florida still has a problem with potential velocity as this system comes by. And as you check it, another thing that's been trending is as this system comes by southeast Florida, some show it that it'd be by South Carolina, North Carolina, but a lot of the trends have been showing that this high pressure will pull this out and it actually would not affect anybody. I've been showing for a while now that after that first anomaly passes by through the Bahamas and goes in the Atlantic, that we actually have another anomaly that will be going into the Gulf with a chance for a doubler. This has been trending for a while that there's a chance for 2 vorticity anomalies get into our southeast of Florida and our Gulf of Mexico. Now as we go through our days, you can see that we do get some storms that pop up in central and southern Texas. Matter of fact, y'all gonna be getting some rainfall from these storms tracking through the western Gulf. But as you get into Saturday, now these storms start training with a little bit of upper level low, surface low pressures in the western Gulf, and it will make its way across the Gulf. Whether it stays strong or whether it gets torn apart, we still got to wait and see. But we do have a lot of upper level lows that is passing with these group of storms that is passing by the western Gulf. So the next 5 days, we definitely got to be on the lookout for any possibilities in our Gulf. And when you look at the precipitation rate of these storms, you can see that by Saturday, by Friday and Saturday, you get an upper level low that does pass through the Gulf of Mexico. It does get some strong storms with it as it crosses over to the southern states. And this will happen continuously for the next 5 days. You get groups of thunderstorms that's passing across the Gulf of Mexico. At the last second, they're getting vorticity to them. They're strengthening up to some strong storms before they go on land. So we got to watch out, make sure these don't spin up, because the last second spin up is exactly what flared up on the first tropical storm of this season. Now after 5 days out, once you get to 6 and 7 days out, then you got to watch out for eastern and northern and western Caribbean. This is where it's going to start sparking up a lot of storms coming from Central America. The high pressure has relaxed back. Now you got possibilities of surface low pressures popping up everywhere, even multiple at the same time. Matter of fact, it's been trending a lot that surface low pressure can rotate out into the Atlantic. And it's been trending on this one that it will go into the east of Florida and actually be going to the Atlantic also. But ever since the beginning of it, we've been showing that there will be a storm passing by Florida that will go towards South Carolina and possibly North Carolina into a little strengthening phase. That's been showing a lot. Also that we have a second one right after this going into our Gulf. But so far, as an update as of this morning, it does get down to a 971 millibar. As it brushes by, could be some winds if this does show. Also some winds and rains possible for the New England states just a little bit as this passes by. I'm showing the main threat is going to be after this storm, if this storm even shows. Because a lot of it shows it going out to the Atlantic. Then literally right as that's going by South Carolina, we get a cluster of storms with upper level low going past the Yucatan. It's been showing for a long time. And it gets into our Gulf. The only thing wrong with these long range models is it gets pushed a little further and further. That seems to be the trend. I remember that from last year. If you say something's going to happen on the 10th, it'll be more likely the 18th. It just gets pushed further. But the data is still the same. Now, once we get to 7 days out, this is where things start showing itself. We have upper level lows, surface low pressures from the South Gulf going into the Gulf of Mexico. But as you can see, it has strong easterly winds pushing it to the west. So if that does form anything, it will be towards Texas. But we also get a big chunk of energy right here in Central America, right by Western Caribbeans. And it stays for a long time and just builds up. You get some rotation. You see the winds? You got rotation all in there. So it's definitely some rotation going on with this in the Western Caribbean from 7 days out. And it does hang around for a long time. And it's always showed that it would be right below South Florida or right over Cuba. That's been there for a long time. And there's a possibility for it to go up to the east of Florida and go out to the Atlantic. At the same time, this big piece of energy that's been moving to the Western Caribbean. Now, if you look at precipitable water, you can see what's inside of these storms when this rain comes through. And you can see a lot of moisture, a lot of precipitation comes into the Gulf for the next 5 days, and it heads towards Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama. It will keep training this for a few days, and then the big story, once you get to about 5 days out, is all this energy, all this storms that's brewing from Eastern Caribbean. Like I said, it's going to be Puerto Rico first. On day 6, all this energy is going to start moving into the central of the Caribbean. It's going to affect Jamaica. It's going to affect Cuba, the islands, Puerto Rico. All the Caribbean is going to see this big plume of energy coming in through the Caribbean. And then you got this big storm that's 7 or 8 days out that's been building for a while. And it stays there and builds and builds and builds until it finally moves towards the Western Caribbean and towards the Gulf of Mexico. It is a lot of energy. It is a lot of rainfall. Anything can come out of this. And I still show that a piece of energy still breaks off towards the Atlantic, while the next piece of energy after that breaks off still heads towards the Gulf of Mexico. And it's been trending still since May 12th that we do have a surface low pressure possibility that can touch down by South Carolina, North Carolina. It could drag up the coast a little bit as it goes on its way out. At the same time, it could be a 1-2 punch. It could be another surface low pressure that builds up, hopefully as high pressure expands out, either squeezes this in and shreds it apart, or it relaxes and allows this all go into the Atlantic and affect no one. You can see this here when you look at the perturbed members. When you look at about 8 days out, you can see possibility for cyclones, for tropical cyclones to pop up in the Gulf of Mexico, eastern of the Yucatan, and it greatly grows as we go through the days. And once you get to the middle of June, then we have the chance for something really big to be into our Gulf. Matter of fact, all the possibilities are showing that something is going to be growing in our Gulf. These right here are very weak. These storms, if they happen, they are very weak. They will get pulled out definitely. But look at this. Look at all these chances growing into the Gulf of Mexico as we go. It greatly grows. And as we go further along with the easterly winds getting pushed with a high pressure expanding, this does go more western into the Gulf, where it could be more of a problem later for Texas. But once we get 10 days out, the strength shows that it'll be going towards Louisiana, towards Mississippi, towards Alabama. This will be the general direction. And then once the high pressure expands, once you get 12 days out, this is all going to push to the west. And then the Western Gulf has a general location for where these could go. Matter of fact, it's starting to trend more than not now that when we get to around June 13th, which is pretty much the date, 12 to 14th seems to be when the worst of it does get. This anomaly here shows that it just gets pinned between two high pressures and just spins and grows for a while. The anomaly that shows up in the Western Caribbean shows that it can get into the Gulf and spin around towards Florida at the last second and strengthen. That's something pretty big. Matter of fact, that's actually trending. If you look at 22 and 23, they do show that a surface low pressure could build up into our Gulf of Mexico, and they could spin around and go straight for Florida. Now, 23 don't show it getting super strong, but however, that location has been trending a lot. I'm sure you've seen it in the videos in the past. 22 shows that it grows real big, as well as the one next to it. You can see that this could still happen with another ensemble just a little bit later. But it shows that it could get into our Gulf, strengthen real big towards Florida, and just go right over Florida. Now, in the beginning, when we first tracked these, it showed this storm coming right towards Florida and curving out to South Carolina and going out to the Atlantic Ocean. That was the very first ensemble that we saw. So when it comes to trying to figure out what's going on with these storms, the most thing you can do with any kind of group of storms or weather is when you look a little further than 24 or 48 hours, which is, in my opinion, far enough, you need to go by what's trending. Because what's trending over and over and over is more than likely what will happen. Now, on the 12th of May, you know how we stay early on the tropics? That's how we do here. We did get a big anomaly that does come into our Gulf. This is your precipitable water. It does show you a lot of heavy rainfall, a big group of storms still going past our Yucatan. And if you see it's making that little western push, that's because the one after 10 days out does go western because of the high pressure. And when we showed it on the 24th, it was showing that it wasn't so much of a western push, that it actually could go straight across and affect Louisiana. And I'm showing these so if you want to go watch these videos so you can see what the trending was and is, so you can see what's been going on. On the 21st, I showed you how this system on the East Coast could be very weak and it will be missing and going into the ocean. So we've been knowing about that for a long time. Matter of fact, it even showed it again on June 1st that is a potential that it could be a weak system forming right off the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina, and it will be going out. And ever since May 26th, guys, we've been showing that we have a big piece of energy, a big system that's coming into our Gulf, and we need to stay alert of this because this is happening. The date will get moved a day or two every time you do a long forecast. That don't change the outcome. The only thing that's going to change if this is before 10 days, it's going to be an eastern push. If it's going to be after 10 days, there's going to be a western push once it gets in the Gulf. I even showed you on the 30th that this could be a rapid intensification if it does go eastern in the Gulf, if it is within the 10 days, that it will rapid intensify before it comes on land for western Florida. At the same time, you can see these anomalies are very weak. They're green. There's 1,000 millibars with a chance of going to ocean, with still a chance for that to curve on the eastern side of Florida. So you got to watch out for that. I got a feeling we're going to have a double. I got a feeling we're going to have one right over the Bahamas that's going to be weaker than the one in the Gulf. Then we got one in the Gulf that will curve towards Florida and possibly curve back. We got to watch this high pressure system. Matter of fact, just the other day on June 2nd, I showed you that this could be a storm going into the ocean, and another one could form up right off the coast of South Carolina. And I did show that that could touch it and leave. That's been trending for a long time. At the same time, we got another cluster of thunderstorms going into the western of the Caribbean, right past Jamaica. There's actually brewed up over Jamaica and pushing west. So this big cluster of storms that's coming, we need to stay on top of it. Let's talk precipitation now. Let's talk about how much rainfall this could cause. If you look through the first few days, you'll see that a lot of heavy rainfall, I'll show you another shot, does build up for Louisiana, Texas, and the Gulf of Mexico as the storm systems move into the Gulf. And that, like I showed you, there could be some vorticity. Those could spin up to something. Now, once you get 5 days out, that kind of stops and it starts brewing up for Puerto Rico and the islands as this energy moves western through the Caribbean. And you do see we do get a spin up that does go through the Atlantic Ocean, but will be multiple. That's not going to be the only one. And once you get 7, 8 days out, then this starts getting really strong for the islands and it starts moving to the western side of the Caribbean. And once you get to the middle of June, then you got the problem in the Gulf. You got the problem in the central, right by the Yucatan Peninsula. We have a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of storms that's coming this way after 10 days. Now, according to GFS, within the next 5 days, all these storms coming across the Gulf of Mexico, there will be heavy rainfall up to 5 to 7 inches for lower Mississippi. Same thing for southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, with a hot spot of up to 8 to 9 inches for lower Texas by San Antonio. And the Euro is showing that it will be more of a tighter grouping of rainfall. It won't be so spread out, and it'll be more towards Houston with this heavy rainfall. But it's still showing that somewhere around southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi will be a hot spot as well. Either way, within 5 days, you have some heavy rainfall coming, so please be aware of that. And here's your look from the southeast, so you can see South Carolina, some parts of Georgia. You do have some heavy rainfall coming up to 2 to 3 inches within the next 5 days. And if that storm does brew up, it does mostly stay offshore, with Florida not getting a whole bunch. The Euro is showing that it'll be a little bit more on land, and instead of that being heavy over just to upstate South Carolina, it could be sporadic across the southeast as well as Alabama. And you could get some heavy rainfall for 2 to 3 inches along the coast of South Carolina, somewhere around Myrtle Beach area, with Florida getting some rainfall. As well as Puerto Rico, you can have a 1, 2 to possibly 3 or 4 inches of rainfall, mostly heavy on the eastern side of Puerto Rico within the next 5 days. But within 10 days, that's when it's going to start being heavier for you, where everybody looks like they're anywhere from 3 to 5 inches plus of rainfall. Now, by the time this video comes out, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, they have storms, but it'll be gone right around noontime, and that's about when this video is going to come out. So I'm going to show you the severe weather that is popping up as far as what's going on in the Gulf, and it did get checked out by NOAA, just so y'all know. They did send an airplane reconnaissance to check out these winds of these storms that is passing through the Gulf. And so far, they're not finding anything significant to be worried about. You see that it is at 16 miles per hour winds. Max surface winds get up to 21, 24. So it don't get super strong where they want to call it a tropical depression or anything to worry about, but these storms are bringing some strong winds. Now, I didn't want to make a video just showing these high structures, these strong storms that's going to be going do all this damage. What I want to do is make a video to give you a timing, because a lot of people have been asking for a time. So I want to give you a timing on where these problems are going to brew up, and I hope you have a better understanding of what could happen in the first 5 days, from 6 to 7 days, and then from 8 days on, what's going to happen for Florida, the East Coast, and the Gulf of Mexico. That was my main purpose in this video today. I will update you with more information, but to me, that's more important right now, just to know what's going on just in the first 5 days. We got to take this 5 days at a time. However, the outcome has not changed. Now, this is 60 hours in AM3K, so you can see these storms passing across the Gulf of Mexico into Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama as this brews up. And we're only going to see 60 hours, so you're not going to see the full fledge of all these storms, but you will see the bulk of it as it comes across and it brews up. It's a lot of storms. So after you get your first set of storms, time dates on the top left, it is moving fast for the hours. That way you can see everything. After your first set, you're going to get a second set of storms. Then this is going to move to the east. It's going to wear down. Then you're going to get another set of storms. Look at that. This is going to train over and over and over for you guys. So please be aware for what is coming. And Florida as well. You got storms coming. So let's praise our God, guys. Amen. Let's do it every day in our lives. He's the reason why we even breathe every day. 1 Thessalonians chapter 3. Wherefore, when we could no longer forbear, we thought it good to be left at Athens alone, and sent Timotheus, our brother and minister of God, and our fellow laborer in the gospel of Christ, to establish you, and to comfort you concerning your faith, that no man should be moved by these afflictions, for yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto. For verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and ye know. For this cause, when I could no longer forbear, I sent to know your faith, lest by some means the tempter have tempted you, and our labor be in vain. But now, when Timotheus came from you unto us, and brought us good tidings of your faith and charity, and that ye have good remembrance of us always, desiring greatly to see us, as we also to see you. Therefore, brethren, we were comforted over you in all our affliction and distress by your faith. For now we live, if ye stand fast in the Lord. For what thanks can we render to God again for you, for all the joy wherewith we joy for your sakes before our God, night and day praying exceedingly that we might see your face, and might perfect that which is lacking in your faith. Now God himself and our Father and our Lord Jesus Christ direct our way unto you. And the Lord make you to increase and abound in love one towards another, and towards all men, even as we do towards you, to the end he may establish your hearts unblameable in holiness before God, even our Father, at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, with all his saints. Amen. God bless you all. I hope you have a very blessed day today. Please stay on top of these storms in the Gulf. There is no alert yet. As we all know, NOAA will do 5 days out, and last time he did 2 or 3 days out, and they didn't even catch the upper level low that Euro caught. So I'm telling you, please, for the next 3 to 5 days, watch this Gulf. All glory does go to God, Yahweh, God of Jacob. Amen. Hallelujah, guys. God bless you today.